Okay, so I started off with just doing the left eye for Hayden. This demo, like I said, is going to be just about using the pen tool, about creating highlights and shadows with your pen tool, and then also using your pencil tool to do hair, and then also working with your layers. So if I open up my layers right here, expand my layers, I can see that I've been working with Hayden. Here's his right eye, and all the paths for his right eye. What I think I'm going to do next is I'm going to go ahead and trace his overall face, but I'm not going to add, do not add color to anything until you get whatever's on top of it done. So if I trace his face and add color to it, I'm not going to be able to see anything. So I can trace his face and then go back and do details. So use my magnifying glass and expand on that. Here's the pen tool. And I know that when I go through and do this, that the hair is going to overlap all of these images. And as I'm tracing, it's filling in. My path is filling in because my fill is on. So I'm going to take that fill and turn it off. I'm going to take that stroke, I'm going to make it bright so that I can see it. And then the other thing you can do is you can also make your stroke bigger. And it doesn't look like I have my stroke panel open. So I'm going to go to Window. Oh, I do have it open. Oh, there it is. And then I can make my stroke panel, my stroke a little bit bigger so I can see what I'm doing. Okay. I want this to go all the way over his ears. You always click and drag the handlebar in the direction that you're going. So this is just a simple click and drag. And you know what? When I grade you, I look to see if you're clicking and dragging the anchor points to control the direction of your patterns. A lot of times I get people that just do straight points because they don't know how to manipulate that. To change the direction, so I'm pulling this way. To change the direction of my path, I'm going to press and hold Alt on my keyboard, and then this handlebar, I shift it to show that I'm now going to go in this direction. So now I click over here, and the path is going in a new direction. Okay? I'll bring it all the way. Your paths need to connect. If you don't connect your paths, you're going to end up, when you do your filling, it's going to look really weird. If I didn't connect these two, let me show you. If these two are not connected, and then I try and fill these, okay, I'm going to be left with an awkward end point. Okay, right now it's not making that much of a difference, but if I stopped here, then I'd have this fill line that went all the way across. Right now this is a fill line. It goes from this anchor point to this anchor point. Okay, so now I need to take these two anchor points and connect them. Since I discontinued that line, I have to select this anchor point, and then I can use my pen tool to go back and connect these two anchor points, or I can select the two anchor points and then go to Object Join. Either one. Okay, so now everything's filled, so when I fill it, it's gonna completely fill in. Okay? So here's my new path right here. I can rename this to show that it's the face. For the most part, you don't really want to worry too much about naming your paths. You want to focus on naming your groups. Okay? And I'm going to go ahead and work on his mouth. It's probably zoomed in too much because I can't see a whole lot of the details. Alright, so here's my anchor point. I'm going to change the color of the stroke so I can see it a little bit more. I need to deselect and then change the color of my stroke. Okay, here's my pen tool, and I'm going to start by making the top of his mouth. So I'm going to click and drag in the direction that I'm going. All the way over here. I'm going to press and hold Alt to change the direction of my path. Okay, so there's the top lip. I'm ready to start working on the bottom lip. See how they're connected? The anchor points connect so that I can fill it in pretty easily. Okay, I need to go in and I need to do this shadow right here. There's a shadow. So first I'm going to deselect, and then I'm going to go back and use the pen tool. I'm going to make this shadow and I'm going to make this shadow. So I'm just going to make a little area knowing that I'm going to fill in behind it. Okay, there's a shadow. There's a shadow. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and do these teeth. I'm pressing and holding Alt, going up and then coming back to, actually I'm just going to come up and do this whole tooth right here. So now I'm pressing and holding Alt to make that corner point come back down so that the teeth actually look round. And he's got a little gap. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to deselect. Now, if I were to fill all of these things in, I would have an empty space right here. So now what I need to do is, I'm just going to take my pen tool, and I'm just going to draw an area knowing that it's going to go behind everything else, and I'm just going to fill it with color. Alright, so I'm going to select all of these things right here. Then I'm going to go to Object, Group. All of these are grouped right here. I'm going to double click it, name it Hayden's Mouth. I'm going to hit OK. So now I'm going to use my direct selection tool and select, here's the direct selection tool. I need to select these teeth because these teeth need to be in front of everything else. I'm going to press and hold Shift so I can select both of them at once. If I look at this group, this is where the teeth are. So that tells me that they need to go in front of everything else. So I clicked to that other path and moved it down. Then I need to color the teeth. And I'm not going to be able to get a really nice white out of this. So I might take the color, and you don't want a bright white. It will look ridiculous if you have a bright white to fill in your teeth. So I'm going to take this and choose probably one of the brighter pixels on here. With my eyedropper. Okay. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click on this color and see if I can't make it a little bit lighter. Okay. So, that's where I'm at with that. Okay, so the next thing I need to choose the next objects that are going to be in front. And I might go back and change this, but this is the top lip. I'm going to use the eyedropper tool, and here's the top lip. I'm going to put it right below the teeth, and use the eyedropper tool and color that top lip. Next, I'm going to choose the bottom lip. It's right here. And it needs to go up here below the top lip. And I'm going to choose a lighter color. Actually, I kind of like this color. Well, let's see. Okay. I think what I might do is go back and choose this top lip and make it the same color as the bottom lip. So now that I'm going to go back and use my eyedropper tool and then just select this bottom lip. So now they're both the same color. I might go back and change them, adjust them a little bit. Okay, so these objects are starting to cover up all my other paths. So if I look on here on my paths, on my layers panel, I can see that I have this path here, which is basically I just drew that to fill in. And I can go ahead and select a color for it. And then I've got this left shadow over here. Let me zoom out so you can see. Okay, this is the other shadow over here. So I'm going to go ahead and make it nice and dark. And then I've got my other shadow right here. I can select it by choosing the blue box. And I'm going to make it the same color as I made this shadow, and I'm going to click and drag it. Okay, so let's zoom out so I can see what I've got here. Teeth are too bright. This is what I'm talking about with it being too bright. So I'm going to go back to the teeth. And let's see, I need to hide some of the layers that are underneath it. Okay, and then I'm going to take my teeth and select them. I need to hold shift so I can select both of them at the same time. I'm going to take the fill off and go back and choose another color for the fill. Okay, so let's turn on all those other layers and then deselect and see how it looks. I could still probably go a little bit lighter with those teeth. So use the selection tool, press and hold shift to get both of them, and then double click on my foreground color swatch. You can see how it's changing right here. Is that okay? So I think the last step that I'm going to do is I'm going to go back in and add a little bit of shading in between the teeth and help to bring down the tone of these teeth. Once everything gets finished, it'll start to come together a little bit more. But right now they're just kind of really, really bright. Okay,